wa ta'ala who makes this. Okay? So it's very important. When we look at a surah, we want to look at what words repeat frequently to try to figure out a theme. Surah Anam, what words repeat frequently? Kul. Kul. Why kul? Well, let's go back. Where are we? In Mecca. What years was it revealed? They say it came from the 5th year to the 10th year. What happened in the 10th year? What happened? His uncle died and Khadija died. So now it became no more confrontation. It became, they wanted to kill him. They wanted to run him out of Mecca, and they wanted to kill him. So they say this confrontation happened between the 5th year and the 10th year. So kul. When it says kul in the Quran, what does it mean? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving a command to the Prophet. Right? And it could be for two things, you know, for something, when there's a need to do it. And for something that needs some prompting. Prompting like what? Like to teach, you know, to say to Zuma, kul, you know. Or to refute an argument, a false argument. And that's what they were doing when? From the 5th year to the 10th year. Why kul? Mushriks, they were saying, the Quraysh was saying, this. Where's the Prophet? Bring an angel. And what would Allah say? Kul, say this. They were slaughtering meat. Kul, say this. Kul, say this. Kul. So it went back and forth. And so the word is repeated a lot in the surah. What other words is repeated a lot in this surah? Dhulm, right? Dhulm usually gets translated as oppression. Literally, dhulm means to put something in an improper place. To put a thing in an improper place, to a place where it doesn't belong. And there's 3 types of dhulm, right? Between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the biggest one, because what is this? Shirk. And this is the dhulm that they've been doing, shirk, right? Then you have dhulm within yourself. And what is that? When you commit sins and do evil, right? Because now you're putting yourself, you know, closer and closer to the hellfire. And finally, dhulm between you and the creation, whether it be man, anything to go, and you don't oppress them. So that's another word too. Obviously, shirk, mushrik, put those words are in there, right? So what is shirk? Shirk is to attribute Allah's attributes to something other than Allah, right? So this is another word, and another word too we could say is huwa. Huwa is another word that's used a lot in Surah Anam. Now I want to take a couple of ayats from Surah Anam, because again, like I said, we'll be talking about the meat, and then it closes off. And it's basically clearing up the Aqidah, you know? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. Qul, again, say, indeed my prayer, my rites of sacrifice, my living and my dying is for Allah, Lord of the worlds. So look, he takes 2 acts of worship's rights. Everything, our hearts, our tongues, our physical actions, right? Our wealth, everything is for who? Allah. It's clear. It's clear. Who is telling us that, right? The ayah continues, not the ayah ends, in the next ayah. La sharika la. Right? No partner is he. Right? Wa bi'idhalika umirtu wa ana awwalul muslimin. No partner is he. And this is I've been commanded, and I'm the first among the Muslims. So what does that mean? He's the first among the Muslims. He's the first among of our ummah. Right? Because we know the prophets were all the same, from Adam alayhi salam to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the last of the prophets. And they all said one thing, shirk. Stay away from shirk. La ilaha illallah, right? Tawheed, right? And this is important, and this is how the Surah Anam goes on to say. Now, Surah, if I have a few minutes, I just want to go quickly into Surah Araf. Same idea. We want to look at Surah Araf. Mecca or Medinan? It's Meccan. When was it revealed? They say between the 4th and the 8th year. It's the same. It's another confrontation, you know what I mean, for the people in Mecca. And why? Well, you see. Because of the stories. A lot of times when you look at a surah, you want to look at the stories in it. Not to backtrack, but if I had to pick one story, and that's the story in Surah Anam, what story you think would be in it? One story is in there, and what story would it be? Well, who would talk about shirk? Ibrahim with his father, right? So now the next one is Surah Araf. Surah Araf actually has 7 stories. It makes up more than half the surah. The first, it talks to Adam alayhi salam or Hawa and how Iblis came in. It's more detailed than Surah Baqarah. Why? To show that Shaitan is our enemy, right? We have to realize this. This is his job. This is his job. Then there's 6 stories after a section of Tawheed. And the 6 stories is about the prophets. And what do they all have in common? Well, let's take the first story, Nuh. This is the first. Nuh was the first messenger, right? Sent on earth. What happened to his people? Annihilated, right? What's the next story? Hud, right? The people of Ad, right? What happened to them? Annihilated. What's the next story? Salih, right? And what happened to them? People annihilated. What's the next story? Shuaib. What happened to them? The people were annihilated, right? And now, if you go in chronological order, Ibrahim should be coming up next. But it skips Ibrahim. It's not his story there. It goes to who? Lut. And it goes to... Now ponder upon this. How come you think Ibrahim... SubhanAllah, it was in the last surah, but it's not in this last surah. So the Mufassirs and say those are ponders. Why? Well, we don't know what happened to his people, right? Remember, they went to throw Ibrahim in the fire, and he got saved, and then he left. But do we know what happened to his people? No, we don't know what happened. Why are we getting to this? We got one more story of Musa. Musa has 2 parts in it. Musa with Pharaoh and Musa with his people. What happens, right? So why am I getting all to this? Because Araf is what? Araf tells about the people of Jannah, the people of Jahannam, and the people of Araf. And who are the people of Araf? They always say, it's called the elevation, on the high point where they're looking down in Jannah and Jahannam. Are they Muslims or non-Muslims? What do you think? Muslims or non-Muslims? They're Muslims. Because if they're non-Muslims, where would they be? Jahannam. They're Muslims. And the scholars, a strong opinion with the scholars that they say that their deeds are equal. And I was in class and one of the students is like, Sheikh, he said, how's that be mathematically possible to have equal death? And Sheikh, subhanAllah, we don't know anything. Shut up. Quiet. We don't want to be of the people of Araf. Eventually, the people of Araf will go to where? Jannah. Because why? Because they're Muslims. Right? But we want to make that extra deed. This is the point of this. That extra smile, that extra dollar for sadaqah, that extra help for hand, that extra make room for space for your brother, you right? That extra like, Assalamu alaikum, how's everything? Can I do something for you? We have to, that one deed, never belittle any small deed. Because we don't know where it will land. And this is important. So as we ponder upon Surah Araf, and you hear about it, and in the section of Tawheed, just real quickly, he mentions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions he is the Lord, and he created, what, the heavens and the earth in what? In 6 days, right? Now let's ponder upon this. They say he did the earth in 2 days, the mountains and the sustenance in 2, and the heavens in 2, 6. Cannot Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say kun? Right? Can he say B and it B's? Why do he has to make 6 days? Right? Imam Qurtubi, he says to teach the slaves kindness and deliberation in their affairs. He says to manifest his power to the angels, step by step. He says 6 days decreed a course for everything. Everything has an appointed time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know? And now I'll leave you with this last one too, because even people say, when was man created? We know he was, on a Friday. But was it part of the 6 days? Did the days start from Sunday to Friday? Some of the scholars say yes. You know? Some say Saturday to Thursday, and then Friday came later on. Because 6 days, if you see, it's not a day, it could mean, we don't, Allahu Alam, how long the time is. Not the day we see of today, you know? So this is the difference of opinion between the scholars, right? So I wanted to leave you as we ponder upon this. Our Imam is here. And as we think of Surah Anam and Surah Araf, 2 Meccan strong surahs confronting the Quraysh, okay? And how saying to choose, and it's our destiny, right? Jannah or Jahannam. And we only go in Jahannam because of what? Our disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But Allah save us, we don't even want to go there. Bring us straight to Jannah. Make every one of us in this masjid bypass the questioning. Ameen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.